All right. Thank you for joining me here.
You're
I'm going to
welcome.
be a professional interviewer, but
Yes,
thank you for coming to my meditation room.
I love it.
Um, I want you to introduce yourself, and then I'll sort of talk about why I invited you to come have this conversation.
Okay. Brook Van Saun. I don't know to look at the camera or you.
Well, it's like in the office. It,
Okay.
it's our mockumentary.
Okay.
Anyway, so I'll start again.
Okay. Sorry.
Um, don't worry, don't be sorry. All right. Thank you for coming to my house. I know it's a big risk to come and talk on camera, so I appreciate you taking the
Yeah,
time,
of
Brooke.
course.
If you don't mind, please introduce yourself and then I'll start the
Yeah.
conversation.
Brook Van Saun is my name. I've been in real estate for a little over 6 years, and I'm excited to join the Moriuchi Group and work with Jane and everybody else.
It's very exciting. So, we first met when Brooke actually represented herself in purchase of her own home. I hadn't been an agent for so long, and I don't know how long you had been in the business, but from first blush, I was like, I like her.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah,
Same.
and you didn't get the house at first.
No, I did not.
I think it went
Yeah.
to someone else at the first
Yeah.
whiff, and then something didn't pan out there. I can't fully remember. It's been a couple years,
Yeah.
and then we got to make the phone
Yeah.
call. What do you remember from that period?
Um, well, I remember you being very easy to work with, and that is hard to find sometimes in our industry. You were very responsive, and it was like talking to somebody I'd known forever, and I had only known you for a short period of time. Um, but it didn't work out initially in our favor, but you were kind enough to call us back, and we made it work, and it was super exciting.
And part of that was, I think your presentation was professional,
Thank you.
but relaxed, organized, and
Hmm.
also you knew what worked for you and your family. So as far as
Hmm.
negotiating goes, it's like, especially representing yourself, you can kind of know like this is what we can do to put our best foot
Yep.
forward. And a big part of that for realtors in general is to be organized and communicating clearly, because so
Hmm.
much can get lost in translation between agent to agent,
For sure.
buyer to seller within that
Hmm.
conversation. And a lot of what we do in our career is mitigating
Yep.
the storytelling, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I knew that we had a house to sell, but I knew that it was on a good street and that it would probably sell quickly. And I share that with you, that you also then share that with the sellers, because that's such an anxious
Mm-hmm.
feeling for a seller to, you know, accept an offer that's contingent.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I was confident when you relayed the information to the seller that you were relaying it, properly um, and in our favor too, because you knew what house we lived in and where it was and located, and so you could present that well
And I
to them.
remember that you did awesome on your home too. So that was exciting
Yeah,
because I showed your home to some
you did.
clients and I said, I think that this is too low.
Yeah.
And then you ended up doing you did like amazing. And mind
Yeah.
you, at this time, like Brooke's going to be new to our team, which I'm so excited about. But at the time, we were working with different brokerages.
Yep.
So a big part of real estate in any area, but especially greater
Hmm.
Philadelphia, South Jersey, is the relationships with other agents.
For sure.
Yeah.
100%. I feel like that is huge for me when I'm working with any agent. Like, I want everything to go smoothly, and I want to be able to have a good open line of communication always,
Mm-hmm.
for that current deal we might be working on, but for the future.
Mm-hmm.
It makes a huge difference, and you know that you can then trust that agent for another deal, or whatever it might be. So it's always
I love
important.
that you mentioned trust. And I do know it always comes down to my loyalty is always to my client.
Hmm.
But I do appreciate when I'm working with an agent who I'm going to understand they're all, even within our team,
Hmm.
if we happen, or within our brokerage, I always know that any agent is going to be loyal to their client first and
Oh,
foremost. So
for
I
sure.
can't be in any sort of like mystique about that. But knowing that they're going to deal fairly with
Hmm.
how they communicate with me, as much as without betraying their
Yeah.
trust to their
Oh, for
client.
sure.
But
Yeah.
yes, it's true
Yeah. 100%.
because it's not always a part of the reputation of those in our profession. But
That is true.
a huge part of why people continue to work with you, I'm sure.
Yeah, and really, my whole business is referral based,
Nice.
and I think it's because people trust me. Um, they like me, and they know that I'll do a good job for them first and
Mhm.
foremost, with their, obviously, their
Their futures,
their
their entire
their best
lives,
interest at heart, always.
where they're going to live
Yes,
and raise their
the
children or
biggest
whatever
purchase
they're
they're
doing.
making in their entire life. Um, yeah. And I mean, and I always put myself in their shoes.
Hmm. Love
So
it.
yeah.
So, one thing I would love to also talk about with
Hmm.
regards to going back to the purchase of your home, and this is
Yes.
probably not something that's often talked about, but in the current real estate climate over
Hmm.
the past few years, it's often been multiple offer situations.
Yep.
And I have seen that candidates that come forward with different type mortgage packages that are not conventional
Hmm.
do struggle more. And your family is a military family, so you had
Yes.
a VA loan.
Hmm.
Can you speak to that from the inside experience?
Well, the VA loan gets a bad rap, I
Mhm.
think, to start with. It's a great loan, and well, especially for military members that you don't get to, put any money down,
Mhm.
which is fantastic. But people often think that the VA is going to come in and pick apart the house, and you're going to have to fix so many things and all that kind of stuff. And we bought 3 houses with a VA loan, and that
Amazing.
has never happened. And this home that we purchased through you, Jane, was an older home, needed updating and had some quirkiness about it, but we were good to go.
Mhm.
The VA, the assessor comes out and they did their thing, and it was totally fine. Um, so it just gets a bad rap.
Mhm.
I think it's a great product, and every veteran should be utilizing it to the fullest
That's
for
amazing.
sure.
It's
Yeah.
wonderful. It's also a big reason that as agents, it's important to know the nuance of different packages. There are so many different
Hmm.
creative types of financing out there for veterans, for
Hmm.
physicians, for nurses. And then it's also a matter of when you represent a seller is knowing how to fully present those so that the seller can make a decision that's most aligned with what feels like the right choice for them.
Right.
So I think that a big part of being an agent of the highest caliber is education around those products.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So
100%.
thank you for speaking to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my next topic of conversation and kind of the reason I wanted to invite you, we've
Hmm.
a bit touched on already, is
Hmm.
I do think a lot about trust in
Yeah.
terms of um, maybe why I'm having a measure of success, but I'm also just a curious person, and I think
Hmm.
about how important trust is in relationships in general.
Hmm.
And of course, it goes beyond then. Like, if I'm married, my spouse is going to trust that I'm not going to cheat on them. Like,
Right.
that's like a
Right.
baseline trust.
Sure.
If I'm working with you as a realtor, I'm going to trust that you're not going to lie to me just to sell a home. Okay, so like this is like the baseline level of trust. But like, it's such a much more nuanced. Is it a feeling? Well, it's a much more nuanced, essential aspect of a relationship in the sense that it takes time to build trust,
Hmm.
and it takes the dedication of listening. If a client feels heard and listened,
Hmm.
that they said something to you months ago or in your initial consultation, and you've brought it back to the fore, like that establishes, you can almost see people melt.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
I'd love to hear your perspective and experience with developing trust in relationships. It doesn't just have to be real estate, but
So I would consider myself a people person in
mhm.
general. Like I love to meet people. I love to be out and about. I can talk to the person in the store standing next to me. And so I'm always very interested in my clients, whether they want to buy a house or they're interested in a year or they want to buy tomorrow or whatever. I'm just always interested in their lifestyle
Mm.
because that helps me to really hone in on what house will probably be best for them. And initially, when I first started out as a real estate agent, I remember getting like so upset, like, oh, I don't know why they love this house so much. This house is falling apart around them or whatever. Like, I was getting like too wrapped up in it because I truly wanted what was best for them. And I didn't think it was best for them. And I can remember my husband saying, but you're not buying the house.
Mm.
And I was like, I know, I get that, but I truly like want to see everything work out in the very best way for my clients. Um, so maybe I get too invested. I know that's kind of cheesy, but I really care about every single client I have. Um, and I just remember what they tell me and about their kids. And um, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think another big baseline thing for me with regards to considering the topic of trust is following through on things and just experiencing this on the other side. Like a thing for me is if someone says they're going to do something and they don't follow through on it.
Hmm.
don't know if it's like hypervigilance left over from childhood or what with me, but like
Yeah.
I remember that, even if it's micro things. And so it can be frustrating when you're feeling in a transaction like you're having to ask your realtor to do something again, or not feeling like a need was anticipated. That is also a big thing in terms of the long-term picture. I'm always sort of thinking like I'm sort of a big picture
Hmm.
thinker. Like,
Hmm.
how are they going to feel the outcome of this, and how can I facilitate what is the most stressful period for them? And sometimes
Right.
their reactions to fear and anxiety are going to kind of leach out sideways.
Hmm.
Like, how can I make that, because of focusing on that, they can know they can like relax a little and rely on
Right.
me. Like, how can I continue to facilitate that for them? And
There's
it is on follow through.
Yeah, it's on follow through. It's answering phone calls.
Mm-hmm.
It's whenever it may be, which you have to set a limit sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But I will answer my phone at night for clients and in the morning, whatever it may be, and I will get an answer. If I don't know something, I will work right then and there to get an answer. And I think being super responsive is what people want
Mm-hmm.
too. Um, Whether you have five clients at a time or they're your only client or whatever it might be, they have to feel like they're your only client always.
Mm-hmm.
That is super, super important.
I hear you on that. I've let go of some of that the longer I've been in the business, which has just been where I'm at in my journey,
Yeah.
which we could touch on outside of this conversation. I like what I just heard you say, though, and can relate to. Sounds like if you don't know the answer to something, you're going to tell someone, I don't know the answer, but let me find out and get back to you. And then you follow through on it. That
Yes.
alone, people in I shouldn't say for people, but if I experience that with someone in
Hmm.
any business, that they can look me in the eye and say, hey, I don't know, and ask questions, or go find the answer and
Yeah,
follow through and bring it to me. I mean, they're I'm
for
with them.
sure.
I'm with them for life. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
100%. I mean, it's
yeah.
honest. I'm being
Mm-hmm.
honest. I'm not going to spew you some nonsense
Mm-hmm.
and make you think something that might not be true or whatever. I want to
Mm-hmm.
get the answer.
Yeah, I have a little ego part in me sometimes. I don't know what this is. Like, it's the childlike part of like where I just want to know all the answers to everything all the time, and I'm like, well, wait, I actually don't know.
Yeah,
And so then I'll go
nobody
back
does.
and just be like, I don't. And
Yeah,
I don't think that we're in sales, right? I think we're in the service industry, and
for
we're
sure.
human. But the advantage that we have, especially in an increasingly AI and tech driven world,
Yeah.
is that we're absolutely in a very feeling, nuanced,
Hmm.
high EQ career,
For sure.
which I love, and
Yeah.
also love the introduction of tech because it takes away the minutia part of it, which I don't care for,
Hmm.
like real slogans, or well, I don't know, and
Yeah.
and so I think that's probably why, coming into this conversation and inviting you here today,
Hmm.
I wanted to invite another agent who I think is doing it in a different way, but in a similar mode of ethics and service.
Yeah.
I really, from watching you and talking to you over the years, have
Thank you.
appreciated that.
Yeah. My family has a nickname for me is by the book, Brooke.
Oh, I like
Always,
this.
because I am very, everything has to be done a certain way and it's going to be done right and it's
Uh-huh.
going to be done, on time and whatever. And so, maybe that's a downfall
Mm-hmm.
sometimes. I can admit that. Um, but it's who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is why people trust me. So,
And who you are is
yeah,
awesome. We're
thank you.
so excited
Thank you.
that when this video comes out, you'll be officially a member of the Moriuchi Group.
Yes, can't wait.
And we're excited to take on South Jersey and the greater Philadelphia region together, in service.
Yeah, for
Thank
sure.
you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yay. I think we did great.
Gee.